In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Chicken Run while I finish the outside of the castle and give a tour. Sorry if my voice sounds a little rough, I wasn't feeling 100% at the time of recording. Spoilers ahead. Chicken Run is a top 10 movie for sure. Oddly enough, the concept of top 10 movies is kind of weird, because depending on mood, my top 10 movies changes drastically. So maybe we should change the saying to top 10 out of 10 movies. Not necessarily that one is better than another, but each and every film on said list is perfect at what it was trying to, and I'm off topic. Chicken Run is a top 10 out of 10 movie. John Powell kills it with the score as per usual. It feels gritty at some parts and perfectly whimsical and uplifting in others. The claymation is really good. Aardman really has come a long way from a grand day out. The villain, Mrs. Tweedy, is traumatizing, and her husband is hilarious. There's so many things to love about Chicken Run, so I'll try my best to cover them all. On the surface, Chicken Run is a silly film about chickens escaping their coop, but deeper down, it's about a chicken and her ambitious attempt to live a better life. Ginger believes that there is more to life than what can be found in the coop. Even though her fellow hens and rooster don't have the same drive, she cares for them. She knows as soon as she leaves, life will be worse for the rest, that's why she has to break everyone out at the same time. It's an extremely difficult, yet possible task. Personally, I think the best escape plan would have been to hire the rats to steal wire cutters, wait for night, cut the fence, and run, but I don't know, I wasn't there. All previous escape plans have failed, and the chickens were running out of time, energy, and ideas when Rocky flew in and saved them. In a quick exchange of terms, Rocky promises to teach the chickens how to fly as long as he is kept safe from the circus. For a while, Rocky trains the chickens how to fly. They spin, work out, fly off roofs, and tap into their flighty thoughts. But as fake as that sounds, well, it's all fake. Rocky lied. Rocky can't fly. He was shot out of a cannon. Rocky isn't a free ranger. He's a slave to the circus. He lied about everything, even the fact that he can lay eggs, which he can't. The most egregious lie was to the chickens. He gave them hope when they needed it most, but had nothing to back it up. He was going to let them die and leave before he was caught. After realizing what he had done, he left. He was too dangerous to be with them, but after a little reawakening, he went back. He realized he had shown up at their lowest, left them even lower, and moved on. The only thing he did was leave them the truth, but eventually came around and helped them escape, like he promised. It begs the question, when is it okay to lie? Short answer, I have no clue. I'd like to think it's when telling the truth could cause harm to others, but sometimes pain has to be felt in order to grow. For instance, Rocky told the rats he was going to give them his eggs. It's an empty promise, but he could hold it up. This lie got the chickens the tools they needed, but it was definitely malicious towards the rats. In this scenario, it wasn't okay to lie, but Rocky didn't technically lie, did he? Another example, Fowler lied about the RAF. Well, technically he didn't lie, he just never told the full story. His lack of truth and transparency could have hurt the chickens. But he stepped up and piloted the crate himself. He stepped up after Ginger's best speech.
You're always talking about back in your day. Well, today is your day.
Wing Commander, T.I. Fowler, reporting for duty.
Ginger never lies. She comes off as rude because of it, but she cares about her fellow chickens and wants them to know how serious the situation is. That's what makes Ginger a good leader. She has the best interest of the flock in her heart. As the leader, however, Ginger comes head-to-head with their adversary. Mr. and Mrs. Tweedy are terrifying. I think Aardman did a great job at displaying the gravity of the chicken's situation. From the start, Ginger is chased by dogs, manhandled by Mr. Tweedy, and stared down by Mrs. Tweedy. Size-wise, the chickens are puny. Alone, or even with a group, the chickens stand no chance against the farmers. It's not until every single chicken works together that they even slightly have a chance. And even after giving it their all, they struggle. I think what makes Mrs. Tweedy terrifying is how powerless the chickens are compared to her. We are shown this multiple times throughout the movie. First, Mrs. Tweedy picks up infertile chickens and chops them. Second, whatever she says goes. She has total power. Not even Mr. Tweedy stands up to her. Third, her machine is ruthless, crushing everything with no escape. Unless, of course, they're smart enough. Fourth, when the machine fails, she comes at you herself, never backing down. She'll climb a light rope to kill you, and withstand multiple hits to kill you. And from the sounds of it, will create a nugget factory just to get revenge. Mrs. Tweedy is very powerful, but she does have a weakness, her ego. Mrs. Tweedy is an ambitious woman that wants to be successful in life, and she doesn't care how she gets that success. Seriously though, her pie business would have flopped in a few weeks max. She went from testing the machine to wanting to kill every single chicken. Unless she buys more chickens every time, her business is gonna flop. Hard. Interestingly enough, and I know I'm not the first person to notice this, Chicken Run has a lot of parallels to World War II. Let's just say hypothetically the chickens are the people of Europe, oppressed by a certain German man, or Miss Tweety in this case. Whatever Miss Tweety says, goes. This leads to those below her not necessarily taking her side, but also not necessarily wanting to confront her about it out of fear of what she may do to them. The chickens work day in and day out, and when they're no longer productive, Miss Tweety sends them to the chop or the pie machine, aka a very special kind of chamber. Chickens are eventually freed because an American shows up and saves them, but ultimately leaves them helpless in the aftermath. It's definitely interesting drawing the parallels, but it begs the question, how is this movie so funny while having a dark premise? Chicken Run is hilarious. It is one of the most quoted movies in the Lemmon household. There are so many great moments that really are hilarious once you've seen it. My top 3 most quoted moments are:
in the quite likely event of an emergency, put your head between your knees and
kiss your bum goodbye.
The chickens are revolting!
Finally, something we agree on. Mr. Tweedy! It's all in your head, Mr. Tweedy.
It's all in me head. It's all in me head.
I love that Aardman is able to strike the perfect balance between family-friendly fun and deeper meaning. It's always a pleasure to watch their movies, and I'm really excited for the Dawn of the Nugget, which I will cover next week. That sums up my thoughts on Chicken Run. If you enjoyed today's video, I ask you drop a like and share with your fellow movie lovers. And if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it and see what you think. Your own opinion will always be more important than mine.
Chickens are up to summit.
Quiet. I'm on to something.
They're organised, I know it.
Said quiet.
That ginger one, I reckon she's their leader.
Mr. Tweedy!